Ladies and gentlemen, today we're at the Capitol, and what's so amazing about this, it's historic because historically black colleges are at the Capitol today to push forward that they are not only what's needed, but they are the impetus in not only the state of Georgia, but throughout the nation. They have graduated amazing graduates. We're here in the Capitol. You're going to hear more, and I'll tell you, the governor talked about how it was necessary to have the historically black colleges here at the Capitol today.
Network.
And I am honored to welcome you all to the beautiful state capitol in recognition and honor of our historically black colleges and universities. I am going to first introduce Senator Lester Jackson and allow him to say some remarks, and then I will come back up. But Senator Jackson himself is an HBCU grad. He serves on the board of Payne College here in Georgia as well. And welcome, Senator Jackson.
God is good, and all the time. For such a time like this, we gather. For such a time like this, we are at our state capitol to voice our concerns. For such a time like this, for the needs of his people, we gather. Historical black colleges from all around this great state, representing the people's agenda for social change, representing the people's agenda for a movement, representing the people's agenda for purpose, for a time such as this. I'm honored to be a part of this moment, for I feel this is not a moment. This is a movement. When we gather historical black colleges and universities together to talk about taking care of Georgia's change, taking care of Georgia's children, taking care of Georgia's purpose, taking care of Georgia's vision for higher education, for a time like this. And I'm happy to be a part of this movement of change and inclusion to move all of Georgia forward. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of this movement. Now, at this time, I'm going to recognize Mr. Tommy Deutsch, an HBCU alum and president of the 100 Black Men of America. Mr. Deutsch.
I start by saying I've had both of my Pfizer immune shots. So let me start today by thanking Senator Halpern for her leadership, Lieutenant Governor and Governor, and all of the phenomenal representatives who represent all of the citizens of Georgia here, and for these great institutions. I am a graduate of the Fort Valley State University and a graduate of Clark Atlanta University. Of my 5 children, 4 went to HBCUs in this state, and 1 thought he would get away and he went to an HBCU in Florida. But I would like to ask us if we will now at least bow our heads while I give an invocation for this great gathering. True Lord and Maker, we thank you for this day, this opportunity to come together. We thank you for having given this state and this nation these great institutions, institutions that took young people where they were and moved them to where they should have been coming from high school to move on to be great citizens in this nation and around the world. These institutions did so much with so little, but they continue to stand strong and to ensure the doors of opportunity were open for every child. No matter their color or race or ethnic beliefs, they were always there and continue to be there. So we thank you and ask that you bless this gathering. We thank you for the leaders who've come together to support these great institutions, and more importantly, we thank you for ensuring that they are strong now and will be stronger in the future. We ask that you bless them, Bless their great leaders who again should have gotten hazardous pay for what they've had to do with so little. But that said, thank you for HBCUs. Thank you for all institutions of higher learning. Thank you for this day that we come together to make sure they will be stronger for the future. Amen.
So I want to just tell you that the man that we just heard from, Tommy Dorsch, is one of the inspirations for why I did a resolution stating today as HBCU Heritage Day. My parents, who are sitting right here in the front, are really the other true inspiration in my life. And what I know for sure is that I would not be here today if it were not for them. So I sit on their shoulders. My parents grew up in Mississippi, really Jim Crow Mississippi, at a time when college education was a faraway dream for most people and opportunities were slim. They both, through their own hard work and some luck, and certainly some opportunity, got the chance to go off to Tougaloo College in what was then Tougaloo, Mississippi. It's now Jackson, Mississippi. And they really, because of Tougaloo, gained the kind of confidence that they needed as students, and they ended up graduating as the first graduates of their own families to graduate college. My sister and I then got the opportunity to get all the benefit from that. My parents were able to give us the kind of life that they did not have themselves and the kind of lives that so many HBCU students, even today, want to craft for themselves and are able to because of the kind of love, because of the kind of challenge, because of the kind of nurturing that their HBCUs are pouring into them. So I am especially excited today to welcome a number of our Georgia HBCU presidents. Georgia has 10 HBCUs right here in our state. We are one of the top states in the country in terms of the number of HBCUs that we have. And today, I want to welcome President Dr. George French from Clark Atlanta University. He will speak in just a little bit. I recognize President Dr. Paul Jones from the Fort Valley State University, President Dr. Kevin James of Morris Brown, President Matthew Williams from the Interdenominational Theological Center, President Kimberly Washington from Savannah State University, and President Marion Fredericks from Albany State University. Our HBCUs here in Georgia and those across the nation have made tremendous advances in academia and the arts. These esteemed institutions provide enriching, challenging, nurturing environments to our African American students, while also here in Georgia contributing over a $1.3 billion impact to our economy. And like I said, what I've known for a long time, from the time I was a little girl, is that if it were not for HBCUs, I would not be here myself. And so thank you so much for joining us. I want to just say, all of us, if we look around and see firsthand the kind of impact that an HBCU education can have on somebody's life, let us remember that so that we can continue to invest critical funds in our educational system and remember these institutions that serve and continue to serve our communities of color. I am now going to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, and I'm excited to have him here today. This is a gentleman who is a former athlete. He's a former legislator. He is somebody who is all about STEM, and we know how much our HBCUs are doing around the sciences and technology and mathematics. And so anyway, I am glad that you are joining us, and I would like you to welcome the 12th Lieutenant Governor of this great state, Lieutenant Governor Duncan.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here today and be surrounded by so many great leaders from all across our state and such an important part of our future here in this great state of Georgia. I want to take a moment to thank Senator Halpern for your continued partnership. You know, as a freshman, you really got the hang of this. And thank you so much for your partnership with us and your continued leadership inside of the Senate, and for hosting this first HBCU Heritage Day. And it's great to see so many representatives from all over the state that are a part of this, from Morehouse and Clark, Atlanta, and all the way down to the Fort Valley and Savannah State. So thank you so much, and everybody that's in between. We have to look no further than the companies that play such a big part in HBCUs and their contributions, like IBM, Southern Company, Bank of America, and to understand that the companies across this nation value the education and the service components and the excellence that HBCUs bring each and every day that they're open. As Lieutenant Governor, you heard briefly, my big initiative is I want Georgia to be the technology capital of the East Coast. And you know, we could just create marketing flyers and we could create little slogans and run around town and say we want to be the technology capital of the East Coast. But I want to earn that title. I want to go into communities, 159 different counties, and I want to earn that title. To do that, we've got to work together. We've got to make an investment into the future. We've got to develop the talent in our K-12 system all across the state. We've got to develop the partnerships with our technical schools. We've got to develop the partnerships with our higher ed so that when companies look to make these million and billion-dollar investments here, they feel comfortable with the talent that we're able to produce. They feel comfortable being able to attract investment, not just from Georgia, not just from the Southeast, not just from this country, but from all over the world. And I'm grateful for the partnership with HBCUs all across this great state as we continue to look for those next entrepreneurs, those next innovative ideas, those next businesses that are going to become something special, those next companies that are going to hire high-paying, quality jobs for all of us and our families to participate in. I selfishly like to talk about being the tech capital of the East Coast because I want my 3 kids to have no other decision than to stay right here in Georgia, to start their families, to grow their companies, to work for businesses, and to retire here right alongside their mom and dad. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for the commitment that HBCUs continue to make in this great state of Georgia. And it's my great pleasure to introduce to you President French to speak next. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is my understanding that this is the first HBCU Heritage Day observance within the great state of Georgia. Governor, thank you for taking several recent meetings with the leaders of the state's 10 HBCUs, many of whom join us today. And most recently, thank you for meeting with Senators Halpern and Jackson, as well as Trustee Dortch, wherein we sought support for this HBCU Heritage Day. Both you, Governor, and the legislature listened, and for that, we are grateful. In fact, given that Georgia has the second highest number of HBCUs in the nation, home to 1 out of every 10 HBCUs in the nation, representing over $1.3 billion in annual economic impact in our state, and $14.3 billion to our nation, representing over 12,000 jobs in Georgia, I propose, and we propose as colleagues, that we recognize these state treasures, historically black colleges, on an annual basis. Why? Because HBCUs produce 24% of all black PhDs in the STEM discipline. HBCUs represent over 80% of all African-American lawyers in the nation. These institutions, which represent 3% of all African Americans, actually graduate over 50% of all African American professionals. That was a clap. The unprecedented levels of philanthropic support, combined with the coordination, funding, and resources provided by the federal government, and yes, corporate America, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, is looking at our great state for technology and to become the leader in technology. As a result, we are experiencing exponential growth and opportunities for HBCUs across the nation and in Georgia. With all of that activity taking place, we are honored to be here today with the governor, the lieutenant governor of our state, and these state legislators, including one who is a freshman who is indeed hitting the ground running. That was a clap as well. To see and to hear the leadership commitment to what many of us refer to and know as the crown jewels of higher education, historically black colleges and universities. Governor Kemp and Lieutenant Governor Duncan, we look forward to seeing you on the beautiful campus of Clark Atlanta University sometime later this year. I extended invitations to both of them to come and see our excellence up close, and both have accepted. Furthermore, and finally, we look forward to you visiting all of these campuses of our colleagues, as you have done recently at Savannah State University. Again, thank you, Senator Halpern, members of the Georgia General Assembly. God bless the historically black colleges of America, and God bless the great state of Georgia.
Thank you so much, Dr. French. Well, I'm not going to delay in introducing the governor, and I'm not going to steal your thunder either, Governor, but what I will say is that thank you for all that you are already doing for our HBCUs and all that you plan to do. And with that.
Well, thank you, Senator Halpern, for that, and Dr. French, I enjoyed meeting with you and Senator Lester Jackson, and as you well know, Lester Jackson comes to the governor's office and asks for a lot. So I was glad to work with Senator Halpern on this to spread the love around a little bit. But it is just my honor to be here with so many great friends, but also great leaders of our HBCUs and really stalwarts of the Georgia General Assembly that I have not only served with when I was in the legislature, but certainly have the honor of continuing to work with even today as I serve as the 83rd governor. And I'm just very honored to be here with Georgia's greatest sons and daughters who have graduated from our historically black colleges and universities. And I know and I can feel that several members of the General Assembly have alliances, and I feel some rivalries maybe breaking out as their presidents were introduced. But we are grateful for that, and it's always an honor to be with my friend and colleague, Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan. But I just want to thank you all for what you're doing on behalf of not only our HBCUs, but of our entire state. Because anyone that's in the position that I am and privileged to be serving as the governor, you know, economic development, good paying jobs, good quality of life, all of that matters in Georgia. It's mattered for a very long time, and our HBCUs and their graduates are a big part of that. And supplying the workforce that we need to continue to recruit, to continue to expand, to continue to have the best of anywhere in the country and perhaps the world of entrepreneurs and business people and smart lawyers and doctors. I was with Dr. Montgomery Rice last night to work on issues that matter in today's world. And when you think about that, over 150 years, these institutions have been committed to opening that door for these individuals in our state, whether it's science, agriculture, innovation, modern-day technology, and obviously the fight for civil rights. But these students that have walked on these historically black colleges and universities, quite honestly, have broken many barriers in our state and continue to be great examples, not only for the youth of today, but for generations to follow. And I'm certainly proud to be part of this celebration today, but also part of this fabric here in the General Assembly and in our great state in conjunction with our business community and others, that has the opportunity to continue to work on those issues, but also build on them. And I think we have much work still to do. I know that I've had great discussions with our HBCU presidents on Zoom calls. I've had other meetings in the office. I have visited Savannah State, look forward to visiting other campuses, and a lot of the things that we are working on this legislative session will continue that commitment on behalf of myself and our office. A good example being the teacher pipeline legislation, where we want the Professional Standards Commission to work with our HBCUs so that we continue to have a great teacher pipeline in our state and have that opportunity for African Americans and other minorities to be in the classroom to help mentor the next generations. And I appreciate the tremendous support that we have gotten on that legislation and look forward to continuing to work with that as we move forward.
Right now we have, oh my God, the President French of Clark Atlanta University. And let me tell you, this is a joy because Clark Atlanta University is not only an undergraduate institution, it's a graduate institution. So to have Dr. French here is so amazing amongst all the other college presidents. So he's going to tell us what today means for historically black colleges and the governor being here. There's so much more.
So glad to be here on this HBCU Heritage Day to represent and recognize all 10 HBCUs within the state of Georgia. This is a state that has the second highest number of HBCUs in the nation. So I'm proud to represent Clark Atlanta University. We met with the governor a couple of weeks ago and made the request for this day, and they came through. Senator Halpern and Senator Jackson also met with us, and this is what we're celebrating.
Oh my God, but let me tell you, how much money does Clark need?
Just about $250 million. We're doing a capital campaign right now for $250 million, a $250 million capital campaign for scholarships, for new buildings, for faculty development activities, all sorts of activities.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to reach out to the governor, and I'm going to ask him to go and ask University of Georgia, all around the state, all of who he's connected to, all of his network, to put together $250 million for Clark Atlanta University, right? Because the state of Georgia is an agricultural state. They have the money. To me, you've shouldered enough for black colleges and universities. In 2020, it's not too late.
And the sustainability and foundation is what it's all about. One and done is not good enough, even when philanthropists give, which we always appreciate, but we have to have a plan for sustainability. And our plan for sustainability being, as you said, in the state of Georgia, huge agricultural state that is not broke, well-resourced, our sustainability plan has to include the state of Georgia. So if you make an overture to the governor, I'm more than happy to sit with the governor, to sit with you, to talk about how we can make that happen.
Senator Halpern, I'm sure today that you are excited and you're smiling because HBC presidents are here today in the Capitol. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, I'm thrilled. First of all, our HBCUs do so much wonderful work. The students that they produce are just phenomenal people who go out into the world and do great work, right? So I'm thrilled. I actually am thrilled to be the one to have put forth a resolution naming today as HBCU Heritage Day, and I am excited that I've got presidents from our various Georgia state HBCU universities and colleges here with us today on the Capitol grounds.
Nice, but let me tell you, how did that happen? Tell me, how did it happen?
Yeah, well, so I was inspired. To do an HBCU Heritage Day. I mean, always my parents who are HBCU graduates. I mean, I rest on their shoulders every day. Without that education that they had, I would not be who I am today.
You got to tell us, where did they go?
So they went to Tougaloo College in Jackson, at the time, Tougaloo, Mississippi, and they both grew up on farms. They grew up in Jim Crow, Mississippi, grew up on farms. They ended up really with some luck, able to go off to Tougaloo College, and both graduated and were the first college graduates in their families. So I stand on their shoulders every day. And so that was my inspiration. And so really quickly, I was like, I'm putting together a resolution. I got some of my colleagues to sign on with it. And then I decided, let us, start calling the presidents and tell them that we're doing this. It's not enough just to do it and name the day and not have them here and not have them bear witness to the fact that we acknowledge their importance. We acknowledge why we need to continue to invest in those universities, that we acknowledge, that they need resources to continue to do the work that they do.
It is so amazing to have the president of Fort Valley State University. Do you know how many people have come from Fort Valley? Tommy Dortch is here. But let me tell you, Wilson Gossier, who is the third African-American in the NFL, he went to Fort Valley State University. Dolly Horton, who's head of the Utility Commission for Fort Valley State, right, went to Fort Valley University. So look, we're going to give the floor over to the president of Fort Valley, because let me tell you, he's done an amazing job. Look how he's dressed. Oh my God, we need to start an academy, starting at kindergarten with the president. President, just tell us, why you're here, what your hopes are for historically black colleges, and the governor needs to tell you how much money he's going to put into historically black colleges who are in the state of Georgia. So I want to hear your take.
Well, we're excited to be here. It's a great recognition for our 10 HBCUs. We contribute a great deal to the state, and to be recognized is great. Not only do the institutions deserve it, but the students, the alumni deserve it. It's great to, just carve out some time to remind our state about the incredible impact that we make to the state and to the nation as a whole. So I'm just glad to get out of the office, to be honest with you. It's only the second time I believe I've been in Atlanta since the pandemic started. But what a great occasion to be here.
You're watching the MVP TV Network.